Good morning, students. Today, let us discuss the product design, the model number 2, some of the topics in that. So, we'll start with the strategy for recovery at end of the product life. Strategies for recovery at end of the product life. So, already you know the design process, the different steps to be followed, but there is a end of every product. Then after every end product, so it is very much clear that you have to take care much over here. Okay, so every product after being used reaches phases of retirement. At the end of the product useful life, there are various opportunities for exploiting the resources used in production. The functionalities of the entire product or some of its parts can be recovered and re-employed for the same task or other task, or its original functionality can be restored and product used as though new. The ultimate goal of product recovery is to retrieve product's inherent value when the product no longer fulfills the user desired needs. Here there are some strategies to be followed for recovery levels. That first one is a reuse. The reuse refers the process of disassembling products to recover usable parts and assemblies for the purpose of utilizing them in newly manufactured products. Components that have not undergone excessive deterioration during use and which guarantees the functional standards and optimum working condition can be recovered. Then next is remanufacturing. See, it refers to returning the used product. That is a manufacturing type or intermediate process to at least its original performance specifications with a warranty. It is a process of recapturing the value added to the material when the product was first manufactured. And next we have a reconditioning, or also you can call it as a refurbishing. Reconditioning is the process of returning a used product to a satisfactory working condition that may be inferior to the original specification. Generally, the resultant product has the warranty that is less than that of newly manufactured equivalent. So next we have a recycling. The recycling refers to the process by which the product material destined for disposal or collected, processed and remanufactured into new products. As you know that there are some materials so you can recycle it, but some are not possible, so it is to be 100% disposed. The material of parts that can be reused and composed of recyclable and compatible materials can be recycled by the recovery processes included in a material's own life cycle, or they can be treated and used in an external production cycle to manufacture products with the less stringent material property requirement. So these are the different strategies you can apply. So for what purpose you have to apply? Because there are some factors promoting product recovery. If you keep it as it is, there are some problems you have to face. So for that purpose you have to apply these simple 4 strategies to recover the more profit also. See here, there are some factors, they will promote the product recovery. What are those factors? The increasing environmental consciousness of society and pressure from NGOs. That NGOs is non-government organizations, consumers, business partners and suppliers. So because of these also you have to take care of this. And secondly, increasing number of environmental regulations and legislation. Then minimize the amount of waste sent to disposal, thereby preventing environment. Again, we have a possible saving in energy consumption and cost, which in turn adds profits to the company. Next, we have organization own social responsibility principles and targets that add value to themselves. So these are the some factors they will promote the product recovery. So next, so we have some product recycling. So what do you mean by this product recycling? It refers to the process by which product materials destined for disposal are collected, processed and remanufactured into new products. So this is what the recycling. This process aims to recover the raw material from used products in order to conserve the value of raw material. So there are some various benefits are there. They are as follows. The recycling saves the energy. Making products from recycling material results in energy savings because more energy is required to extract, refine, transport and process raw materials to the desired shape, size and a finish here. Overall, recycling saves energy, time and money in making products. So next, recycling saves the natural resources. It also helps in conserving natural resources by minimizing the extraction of a fresh raw material from earth through mining and forestry. So this you can avoid it if you use the old product, old material. Recycling helps conserve important raw materials and protects the natural habitats for the future. Next benefits we have, recycling helps protect the environment. Recycle reduces the amount of waste sent to landfills and incineration. The incineration is nothing but a waste treatment process, reduces substantial air and water pollution resulting from extracting raw materials. So that is a mining, quarrying, etc. So there you can have air pollution as well as a water pollution, that you can avoid it here. And reduces greenhouse gas emissions, thereby protecting the natural environment and sustaining the plant for future generation. Next we have, recycling can generate a more revenues. How it will generate it? The slight cost saving from recycling helps to reduce the product cost automatically, which in turn attract more customers, generating more revenues to the company and having an edge over the other competitors. The last benefits we have, recycling enhances business reputation. How it will? Possibilities regarding attracting new customers, enhancing chances of winning contracts and improving a customer loyalty by demonstrating the company's environmental responsibility can be met through serious recycling efforts. Automatically the business reputation can thereby enhanced. So these are the main benefits of product recycling. So next topic we have, that is a human factors in a product design. So this is very important. Even the very much brilliant engineer design, if the human element, that factors, if they are not considered, so automatically our whole the design will fail here. See that a product designed to perform the desired task efficiently, reliably and safety in a given environment. Design fails to support then the end user due to faulty interaction between the user and the products. There are reasons maybe due to the following. Why it will be failed: the unable to use or handle the product correctly, unable to operate the product correctly, difficult to operate the product by people of all ages and conditions, that is a normal or physical impaired, that is a difficult to assemble or install the product, difficult to maintain the product correctly. So these are the some of the reasons So the product may fail because if you are not considering the human factors here. To reduce the risk of developing malfunctioning or misused products, companies are incorporating human factors engineering methods into the product design and development processes. It is worth mentioning herein that even most brilliant engineering design may fail if the human element left unsupported. See, actually, the human factors commonly it is referred as a ergonomics. Ergonomics is nothing but a human comfort. So you can define in this way, ergonomics is the application of psychological and physiological principle to the engineering and design of products, processes and systems. The goal of human factor is to reduce human error and enhance safety and comfort with the specific focus on the interaction between human and the product to offer interest. Suppose if you consider the economics, so automatically it will help the company's business from the bottom lines. And you can take a mini example here. Ergonomically designed chairs helps to sit in the right posture and increase the sitting comfortability for long duration, thereby reducing the risk of lower back injuries. These are the simple example. Even that bike, suppose if you are going to purchase it, first what you do, so you will go for the test drive how it is comfortable. So by like that, so this helps ergonomics in the designing here. So next we have the modeling and simulation. Modeling and simulation in a product design so enables product designers to test whether the design specifications are met by making use of virtual prototype rather than conducting a test on physical prototypes. See how this modeling and simulations are very much important in product design. So instead of going for the directly physical, as you know that if you do the physical prototype, so it will take a much time and again you have to go for the test. If it fails, again you have to come back again. So it is a iterative procedure. If you do it physically, so it will loss of energy, money and time also. Building physical prototypes and conducting experiments on its end, it tends to be a costlier and also time consuming. Use of computer in this regard helps to build a models of the desired product or a function and later simulated using various simulation softwares to study the behavior and performance of the product function under different conditions. Often later in the cycle, physical prototyping testing if need be may be used to confirm simulation results so that product designs can be moved onto a manufacturing. Some benefits of modeling and simulations. The first one significantly shortens the design cycle and reduces the cost of design by creating and analyzing virtual models, which otherwise would have been complex with the physical prototypes. By doing this, there is a reduction in cost and design cycles are crucial to remain competitive in the world where the pace at which new consumer products are being developed is ever increasing day by day. Next benefit we have allows evaluating a model to optimize product system performance or to make a predictions about a real product system during the early stages of design. Next, the provides the designer with the immediate feedback on a design decision, which in turn promises a more comprehensive exploration of a design alternatives and better performing final design. Helps the design to ensure process and product reliability and quality, ensures high flexibility in product design and development processes, minimizes the risk of flawed designs, thereby improving the design efficiency. So there are a lot of more benefits you can have if you go for virtual modeling and a simulation before going for the physical one. Okay, so with this I will end the session. Thank you.